Okay, we're going to start with the very first ACT question set. So you should be looking at number 1. Actually, it says passage 5, but it's Vatican City's Wonders. Vatican City Wonders. Let's look at the format of the English ACT part. If you look at the left-hand side, you've got an article. So you can flip through it, and it's the left-hand side all the way down. That's the article that they're dealing with. But then you've got these underlined parts. These are problems. They may be problems. Maybe they're fine the way they are. But that's the issue. So you're looking at that underlined part, and then there's a corresponding question across number 1. Then you've got these different choices: no change, or do these other things with it. So if it's fine the way it is, based on what they're asking you, now you got to read the question carefully, it's a no change. Otherwise, you figure out how to change it. That's one format that you're going to see, and most of the questions are like that. But there are a couple of other types. There are questions where they introduce a hypothetical sentence, like suppose the author wants to add this particular information. Is it appropriate? You're going to see a couple of those in here. There'll be a little square with a number, and the number corresponds to the question. And then in most of these, this one doesn't have it, but in most of the question sets, there's something involving the order of paragraphs. So is the essay structured in the right way? So that's a third format type. So you'll see those as we go through these practice sets, and we'll do a lot of these. You'll get very familiar with the format. There are only so many types of questions that they answer. It starts to fall into categories. You'll see that that starts to get easier to sort out in your mind too. And so there will come a time when you start reading these questions and you'll have a good shot at answering them just by the structure of the sentence, because you've seen it so many times. The timing of the test, you have, when you sit down and do the ACT, you'll have 45 minutes to do 75 questions like this. So we break that down, and we do 15 at a time. So eventually you'll be doing one question with about 36 seconds per question. So I give you about 9 minutes to do it. Today, take as much time as you want. I want you to get familiar with the format, how they're worded. It does get a little bit tricky because your eyes are bouncing back and forth between questions and choices and the lefts and the rights. So you can take as much time as you want now, but we are going to start tightening that up. So pretty soon we'll be doing it in the regular 9 minutes, so you get used to that feeling. Okay. So pause this video and take as much time as you need to. When we're back on the other side, I'll go through and we'll just walk through each of these 15 questions. Okay, good luck. Okay, we're back. Let's just walk through each one. Number 1. Number 1 is C, with its own government, banking. Nothing too difficult about that. The key here was that the question was asking specifically status as an independent nation. Grammatically, the other choices are okay, but C is the only one that does that. Number 2. 2 is a no change. Here we have the dash. And we're going to see a lot of these dashes, these sort of parenthetical dashes, where you've got long dashes on both sides of it. Now the issue here was not the dash. I'll show you the issue in just a second. But know this, that the ACT test tends to like the dash, so that if you've got a choice in terms of grammar or punctuation, and one of them gives you a good dash situation, that's the one you want to lean to. If you have no other information and you're just guessing, go with the dash. They love the dash. Okay, let's look at these other choices. There are problems with each one. Approximately and about in G. Those two things mean the same thing. That's redundant. You're going to run into that a lot. So if you can get into the habit of seeing ideas repeated, you can eliminate choices. So it's definitely not G. Number H, a grand total sum. That's a little bit wordy of just saying a sum or a total. Total and sum mean the same thing, so you have another redundancy. Number J, letter J, a total of about 1/6 of a square mile when added together. A total when added together. You don't need both of those phrases. So they've done it again. So 3 of those have some kind of a repeated idea. Only the no change just has a square mile and all. That's it. Generally think simplicity. The shorter the better. Okay. So that's F, no change. Number 3 is D. D. Omit the underlined portion. Just don't need it. We want to keep it parallel, right? With great historical, artistic, and religious significance. Number 4 is G, and the reason it is because it would be losing a sense of contrast between two ideas. Number 5, this one's tricky. Given that all the choices are true, which one best emphasizes the extent and worth of the museum's holdings? We want whichever one gives us the strongest sense of extent and worth, and that is B, thousands of invaluable. The other ones work grammatically, and we assume that they're true, but they don't go as far as B does in emphasizing those two things. Now, no change comes very close. A great many valuable paintings. But invaluable means that they're so valuable they can't even be measured in value. So we want the stronger emphasis. Number 6, H will not work. H produces a run-on sentence. Number 7, 7's a no change. This is a very simple, straightforward answer. Probe is the verb we want there. It works best. Number 8 is J. Omit the underlined portion. And the reason we want to omit it is because none of those, we don't want any kind of a transition from the previous paragraph to this paragraph. The previous talks about this exam. Scholars often probe the museum's archives of early written works, and then it jumps to St. Peter's Basilica. It goes, let's see. The Vatican museums house a great many valuable paintings, sculptures, right? Actually, you know what? I might be changing my mind. Yeah, I am. I'm changing my mind. I answered that wrong. 8 is H. It's for instance. Sorry, I'm going to have to go into my PowerPoint and change it. 8 is H, for instance. I had glanced at it, and it looked like it was moving from people to buildings, but it actually is about the Vatican museums, how they house many valuable paintings. And then it goes to St. Peter's Basilica, which houses a great many valuable paintings. Yeah. Wow. Okay, good catch, Brad. Number 9 is B, foundations. Foundations, comma. There we go. And you'll see why when you work on the comma set later on. This is an introductory participial phrase. So we need a comma after the word foundations. Number 10. Number 10 is H. This will not work because the focus on the paragraph is wrong. No, because it distracts attention from the paragraph's focus, which is on the architecture and visual art of St. Peter's. 11. Remember I said the dash thing? This is C. Remember what a dash does. It can be parenthetical, meaning it just sort of drops into the middle of the sentence. So if you back up, look at the beginning of the sentence, it really can read without the parenthetical. So we could read it like this. Intricate mosaics line each of the basilica's several smaller domes. And if you did it that way, you'd probably for sure pick line. So 11 is C, line. Number 12 is F. Mosaics are not paintings in the usual sense of the word. 13. Sculptures contribute. You had to find the actual subject. And they'll do this a lot. So the subject of that sentence that goes with the verb contribute is sculptures. But they've inserted a lot of other phrasing and things between subject and verb. They're trying to throw you off. And this is a very common type of a question. So you got to go back and figure out what contributes to the basilica's beauty, and it's a sculpture. Sculptures, plural. 14 is G, therefore. Yeah, we needed something that would change, or that would not change direction between one idea and the next. Yet, still, nevertheless, and however, all change the direction, add this sort of contrasting transition. G is the only one that does not. And then 15, This vast chapel displays what many consider some of the most... We don't need any punctuation in there, no commas, so that's a no change. 15 is A. 15 is A. Okay, so get in the habit of doing this. Give yourself a score out of 15. Record it somewhere. Maybe you're doing this in a notebook, or you can do it directly. Put the score directly on the sheet. You get to keep those, so that would be fine. And as you keep track, you will find, I think, that your scores are going to get better. Though this one, I don't know. As far as all the other packets that we'll go through, the question sets, this one's not all that difficult. So who knows? Maybe you did well on this one. We'll find some harder ones later on, but you will start getting better at these either way. That's it. Thanks. We'll see you next time.